lot of people do call us translators, but there is a difference between
Yes.
an interpreter and a translator. Because
Interpreter.
I'm not taking it as my language and giving it to them. I'm taking it as their language and giving it to them.
Interpreter. Interpreter.
Say just on the mic. ASL interpreter.
ASL interpreter.
It was great.
ASL interpreter.
That's
ASL interpreter. There are some of those English words I can't pronounce. Yoo-hoo. Yoo-hoo. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our official Pride podcast channel. I'm your host, Meliton. Again, I love you all. And today I have a really special guest here with me. Our Miss Las Vegas Pride for 3 years already. Jojo, I'm so happy to have you here. I love you so much. And for this special podcast, we actually have an ASL interpreter here with us, Penny, who is not on the camera, but she's here next to me. So we're going to do a really special podcast here. To start, let's start. How are you doing today, darling?
I'm doing good. I'm doing great. It's beautiful. I'm happy to come here and do this interview with you. I'm ready and I'm excited for all your questions and stuff.
Oh, you look beautiful like always. We need to say that. Your outfits every time since I joined Pride, it's the best. Don't tell Norma.
Of course. The important thing is to look good, no matter what.
And you do an amazing job with that. One of the main reason I wanted to try actually drag it was because of you, because of how you always performing for us, and I'm like, oh my god, this is amazing.
That's true. I believe that a lot of people look at me and say, like, wait a minute, how can they do it? Because I'm deaf, and how do you identify as that? And I do identify that. I'm deaf, and I'm drag, and I want to show people and lift people up and have more people join me as well, so they can consider it.
And when you started doing drag, you said like 12 years ago. What was the challenges you faced originally, or how was it? The community accepted you, or what was their first reaction for having a deaf drag queen?
Yeah, well, I think one of my biggest challenges, I believe, were, just starting off basic, picking up things, doing little steps, because I was trying to challenge myself, because I wanted to be elevated like the hearing people when they do drag. I wanted to look professional like them. So I was challenging myself to try to get to know them and how to identify and figure out how they identify themselves, and then do it for myself, just to be equal.
And with drag, what's the biggest challenge you face usually? Like when you perform, how do you prepare for the songs or for the lyrics?
I one of the challenges is I really try to practice. I don't do things last minute or a couple of days, before. I don't do that. I just try to practice and review the songs. Try to look at the words and make the meaning, because English and ASL are completely different. And so I have to try to figure out the ASL, and at the same time I can put on my headphones and feel the beat, feel the melody, and then try to remember what to do and where to go, making the steps and moving, and so that I can balance it and make it, to a performance, and then add the expression in that would add emotion, making it humorous or joking and friendly or sad. The facial expression is a lot more powerful because people can see that, and then like the classifiers things that I do, that people can see that and then feel the music with me.
This is so interesting. I do need to say that this should be a lesson to every drag queen, that maybe do more and actually try to do something special, because there are some drag queens who are just putting up this last minute performance, not really putting too much effort into the look, the makeup, and the dancing, and they don't know that there are people like you who is need to do 100 or 200 times more to perform better, actually, than how they doing, in my opinion.
That's true. I agree. There are some different people that, don't, they just try to take it easy because they say, they know what to do and it's their culture and stuff. And, you really got to do the facial expressions. I feel like that's important in everything, with my opinion and stuff. I'm just trying to challenge myself that when I'm doing drag, you have to have way more expression and way more movements than normal than when you're not in drag and you're talking. But people are asking, like, why do you do it? And it's just like, I don't mind doing it. I want to make hearing people understand what my emotions are, and then they can start to feel motivated to do it, because we're all human and we got to be equal.
And that's one of the lessons I learned already from you. So thank you so much for the lessons when I was doing
Yeah, of course.
drag. And when you, that's just me, but probably lots of people are having the same questions. Like when you perform, do you feel the beat in your feet or like in your whole body, or how this is work when you're performing?
Yeah, when I was younger, like maybe around 10, 11 years old, I learned from watching people on stage dancing. I was the only person that's deaf, and I would watch them all the time, movements, and then I would join them, and then I try to do karate, but I didn't really like karate at all because I didn't feel the movements. I didn't feel any, comfort or anything like that. So then when I moved to dancing, I felt the music and I felt like it was just me. And then that's when I started from high school. I have ballroom dancing experience, learning all these different different dances and everything. And I really enjoyed that. So that really impacted me when I got a first place when I was a senior or sophomore. I'm not quite sure. And then I got second place the next year. And I really enjoy dancing, especially in ballroom. And a lot of people are saying, how do you hear? I feel the vibrations, I feel the beats, and then I can memorize the steps of where to go, either if I go left or right or the square or turn around, things like that. I have to memorize those kind of things.
And I know there is some myth about this, so I wanted to ask you that is it true that when some of your senses are not working right, then all of the others are a little bit more sharp at the same time? Or that's just a myth, what people usually say?
Well, I feel like it is true. Yes, definitely. It's definitely I visualize things more and I see things more. So, yeah, I feel like that's true. I don't hear anything, but I definitely see a lot more with my eyes, and then my senses, it's very connected. It's definitely in my DNA.
Oh, that's actually super interesting. I love it. And what made you start joining to Pride, and because I wasn't part of Pride back in the days when they choose you, how was your experience with Pride as Mr. Las Vegas Pride? Miss, not Mr. I'm always messing up, so now.
It's okay, no problem. Oh man. When I started going to bingo for Pride, I was like, oh, I've never, it was like my first experience when I moved here from Guam. I was like, oh, that's very interesting. This group, they were having a lot of fun, and it was a little kind of a challenge, because I didn't know anybody and nobody spoke my language, so it was a little bit of a challenge. And I started coming a little bit more and was playing bingo, and I was just watching people, and I was noticing some of the drag shows, and I was like, wow, I've never seen that before in Pride. And so I thought, wow, that's kind of cool. And then I saw Norma was doing bingo, and Man, that was like 2017, I believe. It was around that time. And I haven't joined yet. And then I finally joined, I think around 2020 or 2021, maybe 2022 is when I started joining Pride Las Vegas. And it was fun.
And full honesty, what's usually the community reaction to you? Like, usually is more welcoming, or you still facing some like hard times with people who do not understand that you are deaf and it's a little different?
Both. I feel like it's a little bit different. I mean, it is normal because a lot of people don't know about the deaf and don't know how to communicate with me. And, I'm very opening and I don't mind, talking with people or trying to talk with people. And some people are just like, I don't know. I don't know if they can do it. But then I joined the board and I feel like I'm more welcomed here.
I'm glad. I hope I never made you feel uncomfortable. I always trying to be more cautious about things, especially every time when I'm with you. I'm like, oh, let me try to say it on my phone, but my accent are not helping because the phone don't pick it up. So I'm trying to.
Which is okay. I notice it, but I see your facial expressions and I see what you're trying to do. And I feel like sometimes your phone doesn't make you feel comfortable because what you're doing on your phone and your facial expressions. But after a while, you'll get used to it and then we'll get used to each other and then it'll be fine. And we text back and forth. But there's a lot of people that have facial expressions. And it's not like really ASL, but it's more like a gesturing back and forth with a little bit of lip movements, and I can catch some of this.
Like every time when we are in the bar.
Right.
And I know you are currently in college. Can you tell us what you're studying for everyone so everybody can know about?
I am in deaf studies for a BA degree right now for education. Right now, I'm a junior right now. I'm going to become a senior next year. I just want to learn to influence people, like have a challenge for language access and everything for the deaf people. And so I'm trying to convince and help people to get interpreters in the community for their future, just trying to help the community.
And once you finish, what's really your plans with the degree? Like, what would be the dream for you to do with the degree? Like, what's your biggest dream job?
I really want to teach second education, so like in high school or hearing children or deaf children or something. I want to teach. I really enjoy that. After my bachelor's degree is done, and then I'm going to go to my master's, and then that's my goal. My master is for special education, maybe even psychology to the deaf people. And I want to go to Hawaii, the University of Hawaii in Manoa.
And that's amazing to work with children. That's incredible. I think lots of people should look at you and say, oh my God, I want to do more. There are teachers in this country are amazing. They never been paid right. So I think we need to do more, better about that. So be better, people. And for the government and for everything what's going on, because we know that every groups of people are facing challenges, and I'm sure that this government right now do not support or give more grants for people who have disabilities. How is it affecting the community the last 2 years or 3 years? Because we always talk about how this administration affecting LGBTQIA people, but we never really talk about how this administration affecting people who are deaf or who have some disabilities. Complex question, sorry.
Oh, man. I'm trying to avoid talking a lot about the political stuff because there is a lot of things about Trump and his administration that right now is just not good for the deaf community. I know that there's a lot that goes on in the world that needs to help the disabled. And that's including not just deafness, but ADHD and autism and just all these different health issues, mental health issues that people have. There's a lot that the government needs to help. And that's one of my goals is I want to help that group of disabled because the government isn't helping them. And I want to be there to help them to have their rights.
And you see, like, that's for the viewers. Like, when you vote, any shape and form, and we are an apolitical organization, so I'm not going to tell you to vote one way or another, but when you make these decisions, you should think about a little bit everybody else around you, not just yourself for a second, because even me as a gay immigrant, I didn't know how much challenges the deaf community facing because of this administration. So maybe you should do your research and see which candidates are for the humans, just for regular everyday people, because sometimes all of these groups are overlooked way too much. So I think it's really important for us to be more cautious with our voice and how we are voting in certain scenarios, because you're going to hurt a group of people you don't even know you're hurting. So that's really sad to hear. I had no idea that how much this administration are affecting the deaf people or the deaf community.
It's true. People do really need to vote the way that they're, not thinking about other people, because it's not fun, the challenges that us or me, I have to go. It's a risk for me, because even when I go to the doctors or the clinics or whatever, they're not concerned with getting an interpreter, a language access or anything like that. They're not concerned about doing that. And I need to know, not just me, but everybody in the deaf community needs to be able to see what's going on in their own lives and their own health and everything. So it is very sad and kind of dangerous, like, for example, the deaf people, if they're having, some kind of health issues, they don't get the explanation of what wordings means. Like when the doctors say something and they try to write it down, it's not clear. If they don't have an interpreter, it's not clear if they're, having those health issues, and then the deaf people don't really have the opportunity to talk back. So it can be very dangerous to them.
Yeah, that's and that's the thing that people do not realize, like for those everyday scenarios, but it's so natural for us, that how much challenges you guys face. What would you say is the most challenging everyday life situation what you face? What you would say, like, it's so easy for a regular, like a person who can hear, but it's really challenging for you?
I don't know. I don't know. I try not to think on things that are challenging. A lot of deaf people can do things almost the same as deaf or as hearing people. Just a lot of them are isolated. I would say they're not involved. They kind of sit back. They're not involved in the community and stuff. And I think that's really disappointing. And I would try to get people to come and be involved with the hearing and the deaf community, just being in a community, whether it be the gay community or, whatever. Just be in a community, because they need that instead of being isolated.
100% right. And I think one of that amazing thing I can say about Pride itself here in town, that if you guys come to our events, most of our events have an interpreter. Usually Penny. But that's bring out more people who are feel uncomfortable, but once they are coming to our community, we are trying to take care of them much as we can, and I think that's really amazing. I don't know when this is started. Do we have any idea, Megan?
It's been, I think it's been quite some time.
Or maybe Jojo, no?
Maybe it started because of Jojo's help.
I think maybe 2022, I believe, as soon as I started in the pageant, I told Brady about trying to get me an interpreter, whether it be for bingo or whatever. Sometimes it's not enough interpreters, but we have interpreters for bingo and the festivals.
I love it. And I think we having it more and more often, I feel like.
I remember a long time ago, I think it was 2017, there were so many deaf community that was involved in Pride Bingo, and I was really surprised. But the one problem was we didn't have an interpreter at that time, and I don't know, whoever the president was at that time tried to like put up captions and stuff like that, and deaf people were trying to look at it, but the reading, it just didn't have it. They prefer an interpreter, and so I think at that time I started bringing it up that it was needing an interpreter. But as soon as I became a pageant, and then I said, hey, I need an interpreter. It's better for access. And I think that's when we started having interpreters more frequently. And all the deaf people that come now to bingo, they're really surprised of how there's an interpreter there. And honestly, they get so happy because they feel more connected. And I feel happy with them, Sometimes they're a little bit concerned, but it's not, sometimes it's a big group and sometimes it's a small group. But it's important that they're there.
So to be fair, we need to thank Jojo to make this one happen for our community.
Of course.
So whenever you come to a bingo and we have an interpreter, just always go to Jojo, give her a big hug. And thanks for everything what he's doing for the community, because this is amazing. I was so pleasantly surprised when I saw it in the first time. I used to have a server when I had the restaurant, and she was she really knew how to sign because her brother were deaf. So she signed for us one time when a customer came in who were deaf, and because I really care about this issue, like I'm really sensitive to this, I told her, like, look, I give you a raise right now. You never told me that. So I give her a raise to make sure that she stays, because I wanted to make sure that any person who comes to my restaurant are able to order and feel welcomed, and that's included the deaf people, and lots of people don't consider them pretty much in the same way, like, oh, we really need to take care of them. So I think it's amazing. I think more people should learn how to sign. That should be a more natural thing for people.
Yeah, I agree. Absolutely. I've had the experience before.
Hi everyone, this is Megan with Las Vegas Pride. June is just around the corner, and while Las Vegas Pride celebrates big with the parade and festival in October, we have so many celebrations coming up in June, so check out our events calendar on our website, and we'll see you there.
I know there is another really exciting things going on for you. I heard that you are writing a book. Can you tell us about that book?
Yes, I am planning. My goal is to finish everything with my book after the semester is done and everything. I can focus on writing this book, and it's different chapters about, like, I'm taking a couple of steps, making sure that the captions and everything are clear on it. But first, it's going to be a children's story first, and then second, maybe I can do like a different kind of story later. But right now, I'm focusing on my children's story.
And how the book's gonna look like? Like, what's the really specialty about it?
It's going to talk about Guam story, because that's a little bit of my identity of growing up in Guam, and a little bit of my struggles with communication and access, with my family and education, and my struggles with that, and how, my performance and my vibe and how I got that, and trying to, be successful with being a drag queen and everything. It's going to be from having a lot of struggles to being very successful and being inspirational.
I love that. we definitely gonna put here in this section some little cool video pictures or whatever you allow us to do. And once it's ready, you just give us the link and we're going to put it under this clip. So people can go straight there and buy it. And everybody...
Yes, for sure. Bring it on.
Let's make that money. No, I'm joking.
But the important thing is like showing people how it is and, you know, explaining about the positivity and more inspiration to make people just feel comfortable with that.
Especially right now, we need that more inspirational stories, and really hoping that, especially a book like this, what you are writing, can reach those audience what we need to reach, because unfortunately there is so many restrictions what these government are trying to put on children, what they can read and what they cannot read, because it's not good for them. I think that's bullshit. I think they should read whatever they can and learn from all of those stories in a more bigger picture way, so they can be more open-minded about the worlds around them.
I agree with definitely. Those children need to be encouraged to follow their goal, you know, in their mind with their life. It's important to, you know, make their family proud, or the generations, you know. And my story is about inspiration and having like a good memory, because I want to, you know, have something about with my father, because he passed away. So I want to have a memory of him in there.
Oh, well, I'm sorry to hear that. And
Yeah. It's a good. I'm okay now, but thank you. I really appreciate that.
And I think everybody who is watching, listening for this podcast should take inspiration from your story and your achievements in the drag queen industry, in your life, and everything what you did, because everybody faced challenges, and like you faced a lot of challenges to get where you are right now and being successful what you're doing. And that story is a real, you can do whatever you want if you believe in yourself and you work hard and you dedicate time and energy for it. Everything is possible. So don't give up. There is always a future, and you can make it happen. Just make sure that you do everything what you can to achieve it, because you are a lifetime expedition.
Exactly. Amen.
That's okay. And before we closing for today, I would like to do this. It's gonna be funny, so whoever is watching, don't laugh, because I'm gonna try my best.
Oh, you're good. You're good.
Let's learn. Teach me something. Let's teach how to say good morning, goodbye, and maybe love you.
Okay, sure. This is I love you. This is the I, the L, and the Y. So I love you. And you point it out to the people you love.
Love you, Sanchez. Love you, people.
And then to say hi or hello, you just do this. Whichever
hand.
yeah, whatever your dominant hand is. If you write, or do you write with your left or your right? Which one is your dominant?
I'm a right hand.
Okay, then you would use your right hand to say hello.
And how do you say happy Pride, everyone?
Yes, this is happy. And then pride.
And Pride. Happy Pride, everyone.
Happy Pride.
And for this team, I would like Jojo to sign it for us, our team, what it's Rise, Resist, and Rejoice. So if you can sign it for the camera for us, how to say Rise, Resist, and Rejoice for our this year team for us.
So rise. Rise.
Rise.
Resist.
Resist.
Rise, resist,
Rise,
and
resist,
enjoy. Rejoice.
Rejoice. So that's for everyone. That's all we have time for today. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. We really appreciate you, Penny. Thank you so much for all of your help and everything what you're doing for us in the community, and how much you help our deaf community here in town. We really appreciate it. And if you would like to follow us on YouTube, we have a podcast, we have a YouTube channel, we have a Apple podcast channel, and we have a Spotify podcast channel. So you guys can find us there as Las Vegas Pride podcast, and give us a shout out wherever you guys are, and whenever you guys see us, come and say hi to us. Love you guys all. See you next week, and I hope you guys have an amazing, beautiful weekend and weekdays and summer in this heat. Bye. Love you. Love you. Yoo-hoo. Yoo-hoo. Yes. Well, you are a living legend in the Pride community, darling. So.
And then when the book comes up, maybe we'll have a next podcast about the book specifically.